So, welcome everybody to a New Human Experience podcast. Today is April the 4th, 2019. So, the topic tonight is healing from the inside out. And so, recently, like last week, I didn't mention that I went to a workshop that it's about healing from the heart. So, and part of or journey into the heart, and part of that is really there's a healing as well as part of that. And so it's a sound healing, and really I would say, since I had that healing, and also there's a few other things that kind of just lined up, and I start to put a lot of things, like connect a lot of dots for me. And so that's why this evening I want to talk about healing from the inside out. So first of all, I just want to mention that there are many different models of healing. For example, there is the Eastern using acupuncture, like medicine or using herbs. There's Ayurvedic, there's allopathic. So there are many methods, many I would say models of healing. And I'm not actually going to talk about any of those at all today. This is not what this is about. I actually want to start by start with out on the limb first, because my understanding is that we don't actually get ill. There really is no illness. And the reason why I say that is because we actually don't have a body. Like, I know that there's the illusion that we have a body, and however, from my understanding, there really is no body. And if there is no body, then there's no body to get ill. And I know there's a lot of pushback to that idea. Is, what do you mean there's no body? I definitely can feel that. I definitely can feel pain. I definitely can feel death. I can definitely feel all of those things. What do I mean by that? So let me now backtrack and kind of tell you my understanding of how we create our reality. It's really our consciousness that creates our reality. If our consciousness is at the level of the body, then we create it so that the body seems to be solid, because it is really our consciousness that that process everything that comes from all the information that comes from our five senses. When we touch something, we feel it. That's because in our consciousness, there's programs, there is this operating system that tells us that if we touch something with a certain, we have a certain amount of push, with a certain amount of force, and then that's how we feel. And if we run towards if we run into a door, or we run into a glass door, then that's the pain we feel. It's something. So that's all part of the operating system. However, as our consciousness change, all these things are subject to be changed as well. So what I'm trying to put forward is really as a part of a new human experience, is I want to stretch your model of reality to something that is bigger than what it is now. So I would really invite you all to listen to all of it before you shut me down or shut me out. It's that. So first thing I want to say is really our consciousness, our level of consciousness is really what creates what we experience as reality. And as our consciousness shifts to a higher level, we'll start to be able to perceive things that are more, that we can't perceive at a lower level. For example, we know that there are people that are sensitive to energy, and they would be able to feel energy, even though energy is not something that everyone can. It's not like a door. We can put our hand and everyone would be able to feel the door, or not like a table, everybody would be able to feel it. Energy is more subtle. It's only people who have trained themselves to be able to sense and perceive energy will be able to get that information. They would be able to feel something that people that don't have that level of consciousness would be able to feel. So in terms of healing then, the body, there really is no body. However, our body is actually made up of thoughts. At a soul level, before I even come onto earth, before I even create my own body, I would have a list of things that I want to experience once I create that body. I want to, let's say, experience being scared. I want to experience something, let's say, feeling pain and all that. Because as a soul, we don't need to eat. We don't need to sleep. We don't need to, we can think of something and it's already created. However, when we have the body, it's something very different. So that's why you would ask the question of how come somebody wants to come and experience pain and being scared? That's really not logical, because like logically, when we want to experience positive things rather than these things. However, from a soul level, these are really experiences that enriches our soul. So when you are not in form, when you're not in body, the thought process, how we want to experience, is actually, we are much braver. Is we would say, okay, I want to experience this, or there's something that I didn't complete last time I was in body, so I want to complete that, even though completing that may put me through some hardship. However, it is really hardship that creates, that really matures a soul. So on a soul level, we really don't have any judgment against things that once we, bad experience, that there's really no such thing as bad experience. It is really experiences that creates friction, so that from that friction, our soul will be able to mature at a different level and be able to be more enriched that way. So it's kind of like diamonds. Diamonds is made out of lots and lots of, it's really just diamond and coal, and a lump of coal. It's like chemically, it's the same. Molecularly, it's the same. It's just that a diamond is a coal, a lump of coal that has been compressed so much that it changes into a diamond. So the soul is the same way. We go for experiences so that our soul can mature and be able to get through those trials. So getting back to why we, when we are at soul level, we have lists of things that we want to come to experience when we are in form. And so we select the parents very carefully. So we would select the mother with all the cell memory and also genealogical memory that will be able to facilitate us, and also as a from the father's lineage as well, for all the father's experiences and also the lineage from the father. So we select all of those thought forms that's been from the mother's side, from the father's side, And it's not just the mother and the father, it's the whole lineage that comes from them. So all those thought patterns is really what would give us the conspire or like create the experience that we actually want. So that's how we select. And so it's everything is really about thought form. So we play with thought form. So for example, if I get ill, then the illness that the way I create my own illness, or the way I experience something that is quote unquote illness, would be something that is very unique, that only myself would be able to experience that. That's why when you look at any kind of ill disease diagnosed, it is never just one or two things. There's usually at least 20, 30 different symptoms, which is which kind of an illness can evoke in a human being. Is because every human being is unique, and the way we create illness is also unique as well. And the reason why our body has illness instead of wellness, because our body actually always try to go back to health. Our body heals itself. When we have a cut, we heal ourselves. If we have any kind of injury, we would heal. The only thing that a doctor will need to do is actually just to prevent, is just to take away the things that prevent our body from working properly. So why do we develop illness is really from disconnection. We are disconnected from ourselves, from our true self, from our true essence. And this disconnection can be created from all the thought forms or the disharmonious thought forms, because we don't just adopt everything from our mother and from our father. We actually, as on a soul level, we select the things that we adopt from our mother and from our father's side. That's why even among siblings, some, for example, I remember there was a case where a friend of mine, all her family has heart disease. However, she was the only one that never had any heart disease. It wasn't even, she never got that. And that's because she actually, even though genetically, a lot of her siblings, her brother actually died very young, died when he was around 40, 45 years old. But for her, when I met her, she's about 40 years old, and she's still very healthy heart and everything, all that. And she never developed the heart disease that the rest of her family seemed to always have in common. And she really attribute that to, because she is a Buddhist herself, and she does chanting. She chants all these Buddhist chanting, and she belongs to a chanting club. She does that every week. That's something that none of her other family members did. They really didn't do. They didn't have I would say, any spiritual or any of those inklings. So that's why not everyone would have the same disease, even though genetically we may be very similar. So let me just get back to it's saying that we pick the thought forms from our mother's lineage, from our father's lineage, and then also what our soul wants to experience here. However, as part of life, and when we actually come into our body, it's not as ideal as or it's not as easy as our soul may think, because before our soul comes into the body, it may be rather I was adventurous, but once we get into the body, it's not as easy sometimes. So we can, at the soul level and at the body level, there can be some disconnection and disharmony between what our soul came here to do and actually what we ended up doing. So when that disharmony and disconnection becomes bigger and bigger, that's when our body starts to create these dis-ease, because these dis-ease actually is our body's way of letting us know that, there all the thought forms from mother side, father side, from your ethnic background, and also from geographical background, there are thought forms as well. There is a disharmony amongst all these thought forms. And because our body is really the sum total of all those thought forms that we decided to embody. And when there are disconnection and disharmony amongst all those thought forms, our body becomes dis-eased. So then, let's see. So now how do we get out of this jam then? I would suggest actually is when we start to let go of the judgment of dis-ease, because our body is actually just trying to, it's like a warning system, an alarm system. Instead of blaming our body for giving us pain or for not supporting us in whatever way, is to actually just pay attention to the warning signs that our body is giving us. Our body is actually not our enemy. It's really trying to help us. So these warning signs, pay attention to them, and pay attention to them without the judgment, without blaming the body. It's just pay attention and be aware of the disconnection. And when we start to observe how the one set of thought forms may be fighting against another set of thought forms, when we become conscious of that and start to do the work to really connect with who we truly are, our true essence, not other people's idea of who we should be, but really who we came here to be. And when we start to focus on that and start to let go of the thoughts that does not support us to be the person and the embodiment of who we want to be before we came here, then we start to reconnect ourselves. We start to let go of the disharmony that is within our body itself, within our thought forms. And when we start to get to a point that we make a decision to embody our soul purpose and start to take steps to do that and to let go of all those things, then we actually become one again. The first level of oneness is really oneness between our body, our mind, and our soul. And when we get to that oneness, our body can start to heal itself, because our body don't have to give us warning signs anymore. Our body can actually use all those energies that it was wasting to try to fight against one thought form against another thought form. When we become one, the first level of oneness within ourselves, our body starts to heal itself. And so at the heart of any disease, of any pain, of any kind of anything that is not going well in your life, is really a decision. Most of the time it's an unconscious decision, and sometimes it may be a conscious decision to be disconnected from our soul purpose, to be disconnected from our body, or be disconnected to parts of ourselves. We disown parts of ourselves. So when we get back to why we made that choice and start to backtrack and get to the part where we can become one again, mind, body, and soul, that's really healing from the inside out. I already mentioned some of the ways that we can heal ourselves from the inside out. Really is to pay attention, and so that we can become aware of the disharmony and the disconnection within our own mind and our body and our soul purpose. So that's really one of the major way to heal ourselves. There are other ways as well, because some people may have a hard time becoming aware of their own patterns. And even when we become more aware, we tend to find that we are layers. Once you peel off one layer, then you can see the next layer, and then the next layer. So I find that what can facilitate that is really sound healing. Sound healing, because we are vibrational beings. Our soul has a certain vibration. And when we use sound to heal, when we use sound to start to heal, then it actually helps us peel those layers out so that we can get to what we need to change faster. So what do I mean by sound healing? There are many ways, many forms of sound healing. A singing bowl can be a sound, or a crystal bowl can be a sound. Music, any kind of, I would actually suggest instrumental music, not really singing, because songs has words, and those words may carry other messages that is not conducive to healing. So usually instrumental music, definitely not heavy rock, but more classical music, is more of a sound healing. The other way we can just very easily heal ourselves with sound is actually to chant. It does not have to be any complicated, just the sound of Om, because Om is a very primal sound. So just chanting Om itself with the intention to let go of any disharmony with ourselves. So using sound and intention together is a great healing. And I know that actually I did select a Om healing, the sound healing tonight for our meditation. So if you just go on YouTube and just Google or just YouTube and search for Om sound, there are many, many, many ones. You can just select the ones that really resonated with you. So I've selected one for today, and I'm going to do that in a few minutes while I say more about other healing, other kind of healing that is really works with our soul. The other healing that I can think of is really light healing, because we are really light. If you look at our people that are more disconnected, they seem darker. And when you are happy, when you are more connected, there's a glow in your body. There's a glow in your face that people can see. That's because when your thoughts are all in alignment, the light within you can shine out. So that's what I mean by we are actually light within. So when you use light to heal, it's actually a much easier and kind of healing. So light healings, there are healing lights. So you just have to search online and just very simply just go under the sun. Just especially now that the weather is getting nicer, we don't have to wear as many layers. Maybe even in a month's time, it's more it's even more so that we can just take a trip to in nature where we can just soak up the essence from nature and from the light in the sun, because the light in the sun, it actually has a very calming and wisdom in it. And we may not consciously know what is the knowledge being passed to us, but our unconscious mind, our soul, can decipher that. So when you just do something as simple as being under the sun in nature and just let the light come through your whole body and allow that to heal you, then that really is a great kind of healing. And of course, meditation is wonderful meditation because it helps you still your thinking, silence your monkey mind, so that your soul can start to really talk to you, and you be able to be more present to what your soul wants you to do, and be able to be guided by the wisdom from your soul. And the last one that I want to mention is really just breathing. Because when we are stressed, we have very, very shallow breath. And that's why most people, when they're stressed, and most people nowadays, they are stressed. Daily life, just holding down a job, taking care of family, doing all those things, we stress all the time. There's so many things that stresses us. It's not because stress is bad. It's because we were never taught how to handle stress properly. One of the ways to handle stress properly is really through breathing, something as simple as being with our breath and start to elongate our breath. That's when we start to breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly, and the depth of our breath, just to breathe all the way into our belly and then exhale completely in a very slow manner, that starts to activate our like our autonomic nervous system to calm it, so that we can start to calm ourselves down. Even when we have a lot of things to do, and especially when we have a lot of things to do, that's when you need to start to be more aware of breathing in slowly and breathing out slowly. And when you do that, you can actually, even if you have a lot of things to do, you can, you don't need to be stressed. You don't need to wear your body out. So this is all I'm going to say for healing from the inside out.